Alabama makes a splash on the recruiting trail. Gee, where have we heard that one before? Luke Robinson of Locked On Crimson Tide joins to discuss. So, Luke, Xavier Griffin, one-time USC five-star linebacker commit, has now flipped to Alabama. And one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this on today's show is because, as we all know, Alabama's defense took a step back last year and was not where it needed to be. And my first thought when I saw that Griffin, who had gotten a crystal ball to go to Alabama a couple of days ago, committed to the Crimson Tide, was, wow, that's a big win for Kane Womack and this defensive staff under Kalen DeBoer.
Oh, it's definitely a big win. It's their third five-star in this class. I suspect they're going to get two more five-stars this week in Sadarian Morgan and Jaira Edwards. So I think this class is shaping up to be a monster class for Alabama. All those folks who are having trouble understanding that Kalen DeBoer is going to do well on the recruiting trail here, and hopefully this certainly disproves that notion. But Xavier Griffin is a dude. Jimmy and I say that all the time about the big-time prospects. He is a dude's dude. He is very fast off the edge. He arrives angrily, originally from Alabama. So he moved to Gainesville, Georgia, during his freshman year, I believe, of high school. And he has been at Georgia ever since, playing at Gainesville. He got hurt his junior season, only played, I think, 6 games, but still had 6 sacks and over 10 tackles for loss and 50 tackles, something like that. He's a really strong player, always dreamed of playing for Alabama. And even though when he moved to Georgia, and even though he committed to USC about a year ago, right at this time, I think it was June 27th of the summer of 2024 that he committed to USC. And it was a real surprise to everybody. But, you know, USC is getting a lot of commitments, but it seems like they're having trouble holding on to some of the bigger ones. I mean, that's just been a theme these last couple of years. I mean, they've still had good classes, but they've got 30 commits right now. That's an inordinate amount of commitments. And I think they're going to lose some more dudes before it's all said and done. No shot at USC. I just think that's the way it is. I think some kids go there, probably get enamored with the bright lights of LA. And I certainly understand it. I've been to USC. It's a great place to be. And they got a lot of opportunity there. But I think in the end, sometimes it's a little hard to go that far away from home for somebody like Xavier Griffin. But Griffin's a little bit different anyway, because, again, he grew up an Alabama fan. He grew up in Alabama. And I think Alabama certainly gives him a great opportunity. It's one of the biggest brands in all of college football, and it's a monster pickup for Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack.
I talk about this a lot with regards to head coaches and the way that recruiting can alleviate pressure, because if you don't have the results on the field, Billy Napier is the best example. If you don't have the results on the field, Hugh Freeze at Auburn, another one, but you recruit well, it can be, I think, in the eyes of fans and maybe in, the donor class administration too. If you have strong recruiting classes, it can be sort of a fallback. It can provide a little bit of air cover for what would otherwise be a high pressure situation. I think after last year, Kalen DeBoer might not be on the hot seat going into the season. I think if it's another, 8-9 win campaign, then that will change going into 2026. But coordinators can leave or be removed from their jobs very quickly. And do you think that this commitment gives any credence to the idea that, Kane Womack struggled last year. It got better, I think, over the second half of the season, but there are some expectations there. I mean, in my view, if last year it kind of repeats itself on that side of the ball, I think Kalen DeBoer probably will make a change. Does landing guys like Xavier Griffin, or if they get Jaira Edwards as well, does that give Kane Womack any leeway for what happens on the field this fall in your view?
I think so. But first of all, the defense, took a step back in a sense last year. But I think people are leaning on that too much in terms of the Vanderbilt game. The Vanderbilt game, the defense was awful. There's no excuse. And I'll go to my grave saying that was just a pathetic effort by the defense. But from that point forward, the defense was pretty good. I mean, you go back to the Tennessee game. Yeah, I know Alabama lost and they gave up some points, but Alabama had a chance to really take control of that game. Jalen Milroe throws a pick in the end zone, and the guy returns it to like the 40 or 50 yard line. Oklahoma, Jalen Milroe gave up at least one pick six. He gave up a couple other interceptions or fumbles that led to easy scores. And so the score was 24-3 against an anemic offense, but they didn't have to do much. I mean, the defense did a lot for Oklahoma in that game. You look at the Michigan game, what happened at the very beginning is turnover, and sack and everything else. So, look, I'm a huge Jalen Milroe fan, okay? I'm also not above criticizing him to a degree. I feel like last year Kalen DeBoer was a little bit handcuffed in that situation. I mean, it was going to take – boy, it would have taken something pretty serious to make a move. I mean, you go back to even Jalen Hurts and Nick Saban. It took – Jalen Hurts had a regression, and finally at the halftime of the national championship game, he said, I've got to do something now. And so it takes a while for somebody to lose trust completely in somebody. And I think that Kane Womack takes a lot of heat, and the defense just wasn't that bad. Yes, a step back in Alabama relative sense. At the same time, I think the defense was okay, and I think they're going to be a lot better this year. Look, I think EA Sports said they have the best defense in the country. Now, that's a video game and all those things, but we all love that video game.
Oh, and, yes, we do.
A lot of people believe that and look, at age 52, I love that video game. So I believe that a lot of people do put some credence into that because they do put effort into trying to figure out how lifelike can we make this. And so that should at least raise an eyebrow. And I feel like the defense is going to be much better this year. You got Tim Keenan was just predicted by Matt Miller's ESPN mock draft to go in the first round of the Minnesota Vikings. That's kind of nuts to me, but hey, if he's thinking that highly of Tim Keenan, congratulations. And then he's got LT Overton going right after him in the second round to the Green Bay Packers in his mock draft. So two guys along the defensive front going in the first 19 picks of the NFL draft, that's a big deal, and that should help your defense.
Yeah, bringing this back to Griffin to wrap today's show, Luke, what do you think his timeline is for playing? Because, you think of big five stars. I think of Xavier Brown, played as a true freshman last year, did a lot of good things, had the big interception in the Georgia game to clinch it. You think about Caleb Downs the year before and how good he has been. Is Griffin, in your view, someone who will step on to campus in the spring, make an impact in spring ball, fly up the depth chart, and then be starting week one?
Starting week one, I'm not 100%. I wouldn't bet against it right now. I want to see how everything shakes out with the portal and who's coming back, but I'm certainly not going to bet against it. I think he can have a Will Anderson type of impact, come in and everybody go, whoa, this guy is better than we thought. I mean, that's how good I think he is. So, and this staff has shown they are not against playing true freshmen. I mean, Ryan Williams, Xavier Brown, there were a lot of true freshmen all over the place last year for Alabama. And Alabama's done it historically under Saban too. So, and that's the other thing. If you get guys like this and they can contribute, you better play them. Because if you don't, they'll start looking for other avenues where they can play.
Yeah, and those options are plentiful when you have the modern world of the transfer portal. And does that last forever? I don't know. We'll see. But it's the world that we certainly have right now, and it's always better with Luke Robinson, Locked On Alabama. That'll do it for today. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.